When's he going to stop? And my Secret Service agents, they're packing, so I got to be careful what they tell me. I'm going to go down this end for just a minute, okay? And then I'll finish up here. Okay? Hang on. Okay. The lady in pink. You.
Me.
Fire away.
Hello. Okay. Um, what have you eaten for breakfast? And also, can I have a fist bump?
You can have a fist bump. And I had a bacon and cheese on a croissant.
Thank you. I'm gonna try that.
I mean, bacon, scrambled egg and cheese on a croissant.
That sounds
I forgot the scrambled egg. Yes, honey. Sure, you can have a fist bump. You sure can.
My name is Sophie. I was wondering what your biggest accomplishment so far in the White House has been.
Well, I think the biggest accomplishment we've had so far is helping people be able to get health care and be able to afford health care. You know, people need, you know, your moms and dads and a lot of people you know need prescription drugs and need a prescription to stay healthy. I'll give you one example. Do you know anybody, any of you kids know anybody who has diabetes? Any kid you know? Well, guess what? It used to be when I came to office to pay for the diabetes for a month, a lot of parents had to pay $300, $400, $500 a month. Well, I was able to change it. They don't have to pay more than, they're not going to have to pay more than $35 a month for that. Those kinds of things. The other thing is, I think one of the biggest things is, and that's going to, it's not complicated, but it is a little bit. There is a concern when I got elected whether or not, I'll get your question. There was a concern that whether or not we would hold all of our allies together, the people in Europe, France, England, Italy, Germany, to stay in what a thing called NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Assembly. And we've always been able to keep the peace since World War II that way. And so I spent a lot of time pulling all those folks together to stay on the same page to take on the Russian aggression, what they're doing to the poor people in Ukraine. And so I think I consider that an accomplishment. And the third thing I think is an accomplishment is that, you know, we have to be the strongest and most prosperous nation in the world. We have to have the best, what they call infrastructure, bridges, roads, highways, internet, all those things. And I was able to convince a lot of my Republican friends to join us. And so we passed a significant bill to rebuild all our roads and all the things that are going to make your generation much, much stronger. Yes, honey.
Who is your biggest inspiration?
My biggest inspiration, let me see, and politically my biggest inspiration was probably Dr. Martin Luther King. But in terms of personally, my biggest inspiration were my mom and my dad. My mom, for real, my dad used to say things when he was alive. He'd say, remember, to be a person of your word, to be a man or a woman of your word, you have to keep your word. Whatever you say, you have to commit to. You have to stick with what you say and tell the truth. And it really does matter. And my mom used to say, just remember, Joey, never bow, never bend, never kneel. Just get up and fight back. And that's for real. And so I think my mom and dad are my two biggest inspirations. Yes?
How many guards are in the building?
How many guards in the building? Well, other than the 4 Secret Service people over there right in front of the podium. But, you know, to tell you the truth, I don't know how many there are. There's a whole bunch, though. There's a whole bunch. I don't know, honey. There's a lot. I wish I knew the number. I don't know. Yes, baby.
What is it like in the White House?
Well, what's it like in the White House? Well, here, come here. You hang with me for a minute. And you don't want to go in the White House? Okay, all right. Okay.
Do you watch the Stanley Cup playoffs? And if you do you have a favorite team?
I did and I do. The Philadelphia Flyers. Oh,
I'm rooting for the Devils.
All right, that's a good thing.
Can I have a fist bump?
Yes. There you go. Hey, man.
Can I have a selfie? And what was your favorite team in the Super Bowl
let me grab that. What was your favorite team?
Kansas City Chiefs.
I got to admit it was the other team for me. But Kansas City, pretty cool. You ready? There you go.
What do I say?
Whatever you want to say. You want to make a speech?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Yuri.
Did you have a question?
Yes.
You want to tell me what it is?
Yuri Newman. That sounds crazy.
Can't answer that one.
What was the last country you traveled to?
The last country I've traveled, I'm thinking what's the last one I was in. I've been to 89. I met with 89 heads of state so far. So I'm trying to think, where was the last place I was? It's hard to keep track. I mean, yeah, you're right, Ireland. That's where it was. How'd you know that? Oh, you're kidding me. All right, man. Okay. Yes.
What is your favorite rose in the rose garden?
My favorite rose is the white rose. And the reason that's my favorite rose is that that's the rose I always give my wife, the white rose. Folks, I'm keeping you a long, long time, and I promise I'll answer some questions back here, but let me just say your mommy and daddies are doing really important work, for real. And, in America, you're allowed to have really different points of view. You can really disagree on which direction you think that we should take the country, whether we should be spending money on this program or that program, or we should be dealing with one country or another. But in the past, we've always, at the end of the day, come together. We've always come together. And so the most important thing to remember is that, America is the most unusual country in the world. And for you little kids, unique, meaning there's not any other country like it. Most countries become countries because they are all the same religion, or they're all the same ethnicity, or they all have the same backgrounds. They're all very similar. But America is the only country that was built on an idea. And no matter how young you are, I hope you remember the idea. And that is that we're based not on where we live, not the geography. We're based on this idea. And this is true. It says, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal, endowed by their Creator, endowed by God, with certain inalienable rights, meaning rights that they have just because they're born. And those rights are life, to have a good life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. No other country is based on that idea. No other country in the world. That's what makes us so special. And that's what makes us the envy of the world. And I tell you, your moms and dads, both in the press as well as in government, they allow us to be able to make it work. We've never completely reached our goal, but we've never walked away from it. So remember, in America, you should be able to do anything. You can accomplish anything. And there's an awful lot of people who have become very, very, very consequential and done incredible things for America because we afford them access to an education. We afford them access to be able to do neat things. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I can see everybody's going, slow it up, Biden. We better get back to work. But thank you, thank you, thank you. I wish I could take more of your questions, but I'm going to say hi back here. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate it. Hey, guys, I didn't ask you guys asked me any questions. What do you...
I'm Gwen, and what are you going to do to ensure the health care and money for the employees of the White House?
What am I going to do to make sure we have health care for the employees of the White House? We're going to make sure that we tell the American people what we're doing and why if everybody paid their fair share in taxes, if the super wealthy, like regular people, paid their fair share, we could easily afford this. You know, we have 1,000 billionaires in America. They only pay 8% of their taxes. Your moms and dad pay 20, 25% of their taxes. They don't make anywhere near that. So we just got to make sure everybody pays their fair share. We can do all these things. We can do them well. Yes, honey.
First, what's your favorite part about being president, and can I have a handshake?
My favorite part about being president is doing what I'm doing right now. Getting to look the American people in the eye and hear what's on their mind. I really mean it. That's my favorite part of being president. Yes, honey.
What's your favorite room in the White House, and can I also have a handshake?
My favorite room in the White House is the room that's off the bedroom where I made into a study, where I'm able to go in there and write my speeches and do a lot of things very quietly. And I also like that little place called the Oval Office. That's a pretty neat place, too. Okay? Thank you, man. What's your question, honey?
When you became president, did it take you a while to get used to everyone crowding you and taking pictures?
Well, yeah, it did a little bit, but see, I had an advantage when I became president. I had for 8 years shown up every single day in the Oval Office as vice president. So I got used to being with Barack and being in that circumstance. So it wasn't like all of a sudden I was just in the national position, but it made it a little bit easier. I'll take one more question here, then I'm going to go across and ask for a question over there.
Where were you born?
That's a good question. I was born in a place called Scranton, Pennsylvania. And it's it's north of Philadelphia. It's almost into New York. But Scranton, Pennsylvania is where I was born. I'll be right back.
What do you do on a daily basis?
What do I do on a daily basis? Well, without getting into the whole, every morning I have a meeting with what they call the National Security Count, the people collect all the information overnight, the secrets around the world, and fill me in on what they know is happening and not happening. And so I sit with the head of the CIA, the head of the military, and I do that. Every morning I meet with my chief of staff to find out what the most important things are going on that day. And then it depends. For example, today I'm going to be, anyway, the schedule varies, and then I meet with my press team, and I talk to the press as well. Yes?
What's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie was the new movie that was about that guy who flies jet planes. You know who I'm talking about? Top Gun. Did you see Top Gun Maverick? That's been my favorite movie I've seen this year.
Can I please have a fist bump? Mr. President, I heard you have to get back to the Oval Office.
What was that? Oh. Hi, how are you?
Hi.
What'd you say? I didn't hear you.
I said I heard you had to get back to the Oval Office.
And by the way, the one thing I thought when I got to be president, I'd get to give orders. But I take more orders than I ever did, and you're right, babe. What's your name?
Kathleen.
Kathleen, what a beautiful name. Kathleen's reminding me I've got to get back to the office. If I don't go, they're going to get the Secret Service working on me, so I'm going to be in trouble. Well, thank you all for taking the time. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.